If you've got commercial motor vehicles on the road, then you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to break down a regulation that's about so much more than just rules. It's about safety, it's about liability, and really, the overall health of your company. We're talking about 49 CFR Part 382, so let's get right into it.
So let me just start with a simple question. Picture this. A DOT auditor walks through your door right now. Would you feel confident or would your heart skip a beat? It's a really high-stakes question because when it comes to drug and alcohol compliance, what you don't know can absolutely come back to haunt you.
And trust me, that is not an exaggeration. A single breakdown in this area can spiral into massive fines, losing your authority to operate, and in the absolute worst-case scenarios, tragic, catastrophic accidents. That's exactly why we're going to get crystal clear on what you need to know and what you need to do.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll kick things off with why these rules are even a thing. Then we'll decode the regulation itself. After that, we're going to walk through the 5 biggest testing hurdles you have to clear and then load you up with the essential tools for success. And finally, we'll tie it all together, the big picture of road safety, and talk about your next steps. Let's do it! So before we get into all the nuts and bolts, let's talk about the foundation. Why is this even a regulation in the first place? Well, it all boils down to one simple critical mission.
The main player in this arena is the FMCSA. That's the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. You can think of them as the guardians of the highway for all commercial vehicles. Their entire reason for being is to prevent crashes, injuries, and deaths involving large trucks and buses.
And when you strip everything else away, the goal of Part 382 is incredibly direct. It's all about making sure that the person sitting behind the wheel of an 80,000-pound machine is alert, focused, and totally unimpaired. It's a non-negotiable part of keeping the public safe.
Okay, so with that crucial why in mind, let's open up the map. It's time to decode the regulation that guides every single step of this compliance journey.
All right, so what in the world is 49 CFR Part 382? I totally get it. The name itself sounds complicated and a little intimidating. And if you've ever tried to read the actual legal text, well, you know it's dense. But don't worry, we're going to unravel it right now and focus on what really matters for you.
At its heart, Part 382 provides the entire playbook. It tells you exactly who it applies to, and that's anyone in a safety-sensitive role, which means it's not just drivers. It could be mechanics, dispatchers, anyone who might operate a commercial vehicle. It defines what's strictly forbidden, it requires specific tests for certain situations, explains how to use the Federal Clearinghouse database, which we'll get to in a minute, and it lays out some really critical training requirements for your supervisors.
Now, this is maybe the most practical part of our explainer. I want you to think of the required tests not just as a boring checklist, but as 5 distinct hurdles that you need to be ready to clear at a moment's notice.
Your first hurdle comes right at the beginning of the race, pre-employment testing. Before a driver can do any safety-sensitive work for you, before they even sit in the driver's seat, they have to be tested.
And this is an absolute must. The process is not done until you have a verified negative drug test result back from a medical review officer. There are 0 shortcuts, no workarounds, no exceptions. This is your first and maybe most important line of defense.
The second hurdle is the one that keeps you on your toes all year long: random testing. This isn't a one-and-done thing. It's an ongoing process, and it's designed to be a powerful deterrent, making sure that safety is always top of mind, every single day.
Now let's talk numbers, because this is where it gets specific. The FMCSA sets a minimum annual testing rate. For drugs, that rate is currently sitting at 50%. So what does that mean? It means that over the year, the number of random drug tests you perform has to be at least half the number of drivers you have in your testing pool. Now for alcohol, the rate is different. It's currently at 10%. So same idea. You also have to conduct random alcohol tests that equal 10% of your driver pool each year. Managing these percentages and making sure the selections are truly random is a big reason why a lot of companies join a consortium. It just makes life easier, especially for smaller companies, by pulling drivers together to create a larger, more valid random pool that's much easier to manage.
All right, let's talk about what is, for so many people, the most stressful, chaotic, and hair-pulling hurdle of them all: post-accident testing. When an incident happens, you're not just dealing with the accident, you are racing against the clock.
The very moment an accident occurs that meets certain DOT criteria, a federal timer starts ticking. And this isn't a suggestion, it is a hard, unmovable deadline. You have just hours to get these tests done, and the pressure is unbelievable.
And this slide right here perfectly captures the madness. This is where all the theory crashes into messy, complicated reality. First, you have to figure out if the accident even qualifies for a DOT test, and you have to make that call correctly under pressure. Then the real logistical nightmare begins. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, your driver's on some remote highway, and you need a certified collector to get there now. This exact scenario is the problem that modern tech, like the Ready Collect app, was built to solve. It has a patented system that just eliminates the guesswork. It helps you figure out if testing is required, and then, with just a few taps, you can dispatch the closest available collector right to the scene. You get real-time updates, geofence tracking, no more frantic phone calls in the middle of the night. The whole thing is digitized, which makes sure you hit those deadlines and have a perfect audit-proof record.
Now, I'm really curious to hear from all of you who are actually out there doing this. What's been your biggest headache with post-accident testing? Is it finding a collector, the paperwork, the pure stress of it all? Go ahead and drop your experience or your best tip in the comments below. Let's all learn from each other on this one.
Okay, on to our fourth hurdle. This one requires some sharp observation and a really well-supported judgment call. It's reasonable suspicion testing. This is the only test that isn't triggered by a set event like hiring or an accident, but by what a supervisor sees with their own 2 eyes. For the supervisors watching, what's the hardest part of making that call? Let us know in the comments.
The most important word here is observable. This can't be based on a hunch, a rumor, or office gossip. The suspicion has to be grounded in specific, current, observable signs that point to impairment. We're talking about things a supervisor can physically see, hear, or smell, like slurred speech, bizarre behavior, or the unmistakable odor of alcohol.
And finally, our fifth hurdle, return to duty. This is a specific test for drivers who've had a violation in the past. It's a key part of a very strict process, one that's guided by a substance abuse professional, or a SAP, that allows them to get back into a safety-sensitive job. It's the first critical step on their road back to work.
Okay, we have successfully navigated the 5 hurdles. Now let's make sure your toolkit is properly stocked. Because let's be honest, staying compliant isn't about luck. It's about having the right tools and the right processes ready to go.
One of your main tools is the FMCSA Clearinghouse. The easiest way to think of it is as a national credit report, but for a commercial driver's drug and alcohol violations. So as an employer, it's your job to use it. You have to run checks on every new hire, and you are required to report any violations that occur under your roof. The Clearinghouse makes sure that a violation follows a driver from job to job, which closes a huge loophole that used to let drivers just hop to a new company without dealing with a serious safety problem.
But you know, technology by itself isn't a silver bullet. Maybe the most vital tool in your entire program isn't software. It's a person, a properly trained supervisor. They are your eyes and your ears out on the ground.
And this training is not optional. Part 382 mandates it. Supervisors have to get at least 60 minutes of training on alcohol misuse and another 60 minutes on controlled substances. And the goal isn't just to check a box on a form, it's to give them the actual knowledge and the confidence to make that tough but critical, reasonable suspicion call, based on facts, not just feelings. This protects everyone, the public, the company, and even the driver.
So we've covered the rules, we've covered the hurdles, we've covered the tools. But now let's just take a step back and connect all these dots back to the biggest question of all: why does this matter so much?
The real cost of getting this wrong is so much bigger than just a fine. It eats away at your entire operation. It crushes productivity. It makes good employees want to leave, and it dramatically raises the risk of accidents. The legal and financial fallout can be absolutely devastating. But more important than any of that, it puts the safety of every single person we share the road with in jeopardy.
And I just want to leave you with this quote because it cuts right to the absolute heart of the issue. When someone in a safety-sensitive job is impaired, it's not a small mistake. It is a choice that puts many, many lives at risk. And that is the fundamental truth that drives every single one of these regulations.
So as we start to wrap this up, I want to leave you with this question to really think about. Is your safety program just about checking the right boxes to pass an audit? Or is it about building a real deep-rooted culture of safety, where everyone, from the owner down to the newest driver, is truly committed to keeping our roads safe? The answer to that question really defines everything. Wow, we have covered a lot of ground today. The whole goal here was to give you a clear map to help you navigate this pretty complex world. So now, let's talk about putting all this knowledge into action.
If you found this breakdown helpful at all, please do us a huge favor and hit that thumbs up button. It really does help the channel. And if you are inspired with this video, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ready Collect. Feel free to share this video as well. Thank you.